That's the highlight. That was the highlight of this whole route so far. Okay, actually, I want to check after that adorable date. I want to see where we are on the tree. Whoa, 80%. Okay, we're doing well. This pleases me. November 1867. A gust of wind stripped some of the last stubborn leaves from the trees and sent them skittering across the Kyoto street. It was cold and it bit into me through my clothes. I shivered. It's almost winter, isn't it?
Yeah, the wind's gotten pretty cold lately. Still, we don't have it too bad during the day. I can't imagine how cold it gets for the night, guys.
His breath turned like smoke. My fingertips were icy cold and I blew my breath on them.
Are your hands cold? Would you like me to hold them?
Really moving in on your guy's turf? Sano. No, I'm not that cold. I'll be fine. Oh? I'd noticed someone walking toward us.
Hey guys, ain't today great? He is the only one not affected by the cold. What? You're one to talk, man. Look at what you're wearing.
Again with you guys. Their bickering might have looked odd to a passerby, but I knew it for the sign of deep friendship that it was.
What's up? Why are you grinning like that? Probably thinks your face is funny, Shinpachi. You really ought to do something about that thing.
No, it's just, well, I was just remembering when we met up like this before. Like the time we met Kaoru. I was with Okita and Heisuke then, though. More than 6 months had passed since Saito and Heisuke left to join the Guardians of the Imperial Tomb. Harada and Shinpachi's faces turned grim as I trailed off. I shook my head, hoping vainly to cast off unpleasant thoughts. I just mean there's been so much going on lately. It makes me nostalgic.
The Shinsengumi has changed. Hell, so is the rest of the world.
Yes.
But man, who would have thought there would come a day where we'd be promoted to a Jiki-san?
It was right around the time when we moved our headquarters to Fedota Village, right? I remember there were a handful of people who said they were going to leave and it was a big debacle. There is a distinction, though, between those who were able to leave the Shinsengumi and then those who were forced to enter the Fury Corps. Kondo seemed to be thrilled about becoming promoted to a Jiki-san, but... How do you guys feel about this?
I'm not really a fan. Yeah, I didn't do all this work just so I could be a retainer for the Shogun.
Kondo's promotion had changed the Shinsengumi's relationship with the daimyo. Where before, we'd only been philosophically aligned with the Shogun, now we answered directly to him. For some people, that was a serious problem. Rumors floated around as we began to move to our new headquarters. So, what's this going to change for us going forward? I heard that a few months ago that the Imperial Prince had become the new Emperor. I think there was a restoration of Imperial rule last month, right? Supposedly, the Tokugawa Shogunate returned power from the government to the Emperor, right?
Yeah, supposedly it was Ryoma Sakamoto's idea. I heard that, because of that, the Satsuma and Choshu were really pissed at him because they were going to use this opportunity to fight for power. Well, he already had a target on his back from the Shogunate supporters, so now he's basically hated by every Ronin in Japan. But then, now there is no just cause for the Satsuma and Choshu to start a war. So for now, I guess they're gonna just keep things like they are for now. That's right. The Shogunate is going to remain as it is, and the Tokugawa will still be the largest daimyo clan in Japan. Still, there is the chance of the Satsuma having something up their sleeves, but we have no way of knowing. Well, as long as the Shogunate doesn't call their bluff, nothing's gonna happen.
I see. As I looked around the city, it seemed like he had a point. Nothing much seemed to have changed. Inns were still bustling with travelers. Tea shops were still smelling delicious. You could still smell the burning incense from the temples scattered throughout the town. Life continued just as it always had, regardless of what the Shogun was or wasn't doing. The city might look the same as it always had, but time flowed on regardless, and a great wave was coming that would carry all of us away. I looked up at Nagakura, and something occurred to me that I hadn't thought of before. Before I realized what I was doing, I'd opened my mouth. I didn't realize you were so smart, Nagakura. You know a lot about politics.
Didn't realize. Wait, just what did you think of me?
Let's continue our rounds. It's winter, which means it'll get darker faster.
You're trying to dodge the question.
Yep. Alright. There was a man named Ryoma Sakamoto. He was a Ronin from the Tosa domain and had allied himself with the Satsuma and Choshu domains as well. For a time, the Kyoto Judiciary Commissioner, Mimawara Gumi, and even the Shinsengumi were desperate to find him. After his orchestration of the restoration of imperial rule, however, orders were passed down to leave him alone. I only had a general idea of who he was and what he'd done, but even I had figured out that he was an important person, so when I heard Inoue mention him, I listened.
Ryoma Sakamoto has been assassinated.
You serious, Gen? Do they know who did it? Sakamoto had a lot of enemies. Could have been imperialists or loyalists. Hell, it could have just been personal, in which case my money's on Miura of Kishu.
Ha. You think maybe they're looking at us for it? Damn. If the bastard was gonna get killed anyway, I should have done him in.
That's not very funny coming from you. In fact, weren't we specifically told to leave him alone?
I'd never met Sakamoto. In fact, I barely knew who he was, but I felt somehow that his death would shake the country to its core.
As you all know, there was a decision made far above us, and Kondo was ordered to leave Ryoma Sakamoto alone. Unfortunately, the rest of the country is unlikely to see it that way. A scabbard belonging to a member of the Shinsengumi was found at the scene of his death. There has been a request for an official inquiry.
A scabbard? Is that really enough evidence?
If it isn't, I'm sure they'll just fabricate more. It's obviously a ruse. Who are they saying it belonged to, anyway?
Actually, they say it was yours, Harada.
What? Really, Sano? Damn, wish you'd brought me with you.
Knock it off, Okita. Besides, my scabbard's right here. Man, this is idiotic. If you're going to make shit up, do it better.
I don't suspect you, and neither does anyone else here. Unfortunately, I doubt the rest of the nation will extend you the same courtesy. I imagine they're having trouble determining the real culprit. There was talk that Kyotaro Miura from Kyushu asked the Shinsengumi to kill Ryoma.
Miura? That was the man Nagakura had mentioned. He had some sort of personal quarrel with Sakamoto, which made him a suspect.
I'm sure there's plenty of people who'd love to pin this one on the Shinsengumi. But unless someone did it and lied about it, there's no way it was us.
Unless Sanon decided to go do a little work off the books. The room fell silent.
How is Sanon these days? Our reputation is grisly enough, but even I think his night rounds are bad these days.
It was true Sanon was acting stranger and stranger. Although I didn't want to believe it, I had to admit it wasn't that difficult to imagine him doing something like that. When I passed him on occasion in the hallways, his eyes were dry and thirsty, as if he was always hungry for blood.
We'll have to be careful then. We can't let people learn about the Furies. About that. Oh hey, Kondo. Hijikata... Whoa. Saito? What the hell are you doing here?
I thought I was dreaming for a second, but there was no doubt. The man who'd followed Kondo and Hijikata into the room was the man who'd left to join the Guardians of the Imperial Tomb, Saito himself.
Oh, hello, Saito. It's been a while. What happened to the guard?
What are you talking about, Inoue? There's no way Hijikata would allow anyone from the guard here. We're prohibited from even talking to them.
Ugh, just... shut up, alright. Starting today, Sayato's back in the Shinsengumi.
What?
What? Hold on a second there, Hijikata. We're glad he's back, don't get me wrong, but... what happened with the guard? And Ito? You're mistaken, but understandably. I was never one of Ito's supporters. In fact, Saito joined Ito and his men as a spy, under Toshi's direct orders.
And with that, everything suddenly made sense. They say that to fool your enemy, you must first fool your allies, and Saito had been doing just that. What? Come on, Saito. It's not fair for you to go off and have fun without letting me in on it.
Man, you just about scared the pants off me. Not cool, Kondo. This was all top secret. I'm sorry I had to keep it from all of you.
It was a surprise, to be sure, but I was glad we'd have Saito back with us again. I gave him a tentative smile, but he only sighed and shook his head.
It's too early to feel relieved. The last 6 months in the guard have made it clear. Ito and his followers are going to take action against the Shinsengumi.
What sort of action?
Ito is going to expose the Fury Corps to discredit the shogunate. There's even talk that he's working with Satsuma to that end.
If the existence and creation of the monstrous Furies was to become public knowledge, the shogunate's reputation would be irreparably damaged and the Shinsengumi would undoubtedly suffer as well. Even I could predict that.
There's more. Ito plans to assassinate the chief of the Shinsengumi.
You mean Kondo? Kondo's face was tense, but he kept silent. He glanced over at Hijikata.
The guard is moving to destroy the Shinsengumi. You've already heard about Sakamoto, right? Yeah, some crap about me being the killer. Right. Well, you have the Guardians of the Imperial Tomb to thank. They've been spreading the rumor that Kyotaro Miura of Kishu hired the Shinsengumi, and that Harada put the sword in him. Miura insisted that he didn't do it, but there may be dumbasses who believe that rumor and may attack us. So, Sayato's going to be guarding Miura for now. If it looks like he just left and then came back, it won't be too hard for Ito to put 2 and 2 together. I understand. Until this matter is settled, it is better that I'm not seen here.
Here, Hijikata paused for a moment. The room was utterly silent. Every one of us could sense that what came next would be very, very important.
Kashitaro Ito. It's not enough for you to expose the Fury Corps. You have to try and kill Kondo too, huh?
He spoke quietly, almost to himself, as if sharing a final moment with a former comrade. Then he looked up, and when he spoke, his voice was like cold steel, the voice of the demon.
It's too bad it has to be this way, but we don't have a choice. Ito dies. I suppose you're right. It can't be helped.
Kondo nodded, and that was that. The Shinsengumi would kill Kashitaro Ito.
First, we'll invite Ito to Kondo's second home. I'll be there too. Once he's dead, we can use Ito's corpse to lure out the rest of the guard and kill them. Nagakura, Harada, I'm assigning you and your divisions to this. Take care of it.
Hey, Hijikata, who do you want me to kill?
No one. You're staying here in bed. You've still got that cough, don't you? You're sick. Sayata'll be here for a few days, so you'll have someone to play with.
So you're telling me that you won't let me participate in the assassination of the person who was trying to kill Kondo? You're a real bastard, Hijikata. It all seemed very calculated for murder. I hadn't realized I'd been sitting still, in shock, until I felt a gentle tap on my shoulder.
Don't forget your boo.
Sayato?
This will be the end of the Guardians of the Imperial Tomb. If we are going to return Heisuke to the fold, it must be now or never.
He was right. If they meant to kill the guard, that included Heisuke. I couldn't keep sitting still, so I ran over to Hijikata. Hijikata?
What?
What are you going to do with Heisuke? He's part of the guard now.
Isn't that obvious? We'll save him, of course.
Nagakura said as if it was obvious, but got cut off.
No. He fights us, he dies.
What? My mind went blank. I couldn't contain my heart from how fast it beat. No! You can't mean that! My voice started to shake. You're lying, right? I mean, you've known Heisuke for a long time. He's your friend. Hijikata stood up as if he wanted to push me away, and he left the common room. You're actually going to order them to kill Heisuke? So, just because he left the Shinsengumi, are you saying you no longer care if he dies or not?
Of course we care! I know that deep down, Toshi wants to save him too. There's no way he could live with giving the command to kill a comrade who was a part of our family for years.
Kondo appeared to be gripping his fist so tightly that it almost looked like he was bleeding. That alone said it all. I realized in that moment how much Kondo was suffering, how much each one of them was suffering, even Hijikata. I'm sorry for saying that.
No need to apologize. It's expected. It makes me happy, quite honestly. I'm glad people care for Heisuke.
Kondo let out a slow breath, then looked up at me and smiled. He turned to Nagakura and Harada and spoke in a low voice.
I'm asking you this not as your chief, but as Izumi Kondo. Let Heisuke live, and, if you can, try and convince him to come back. Got it. His life is in our hands, huh? That is a lot of responsibility.
What I should do? What could I do?
I trust everything's clear. If you have questions, now is the time.
Wait. Kondo turned around and looked very surprised. I haven't been given any orders. I would like to help.
This is a dirty job. This is nothing like the Aketa Inn or Hamaguri Rebellion. You really shouldn't be involved.
It was true. This wasn't a patrol or even a guarding mission. This was the assassination of a former comrade and an attack on men who'd split from the Shinsengumi. But I need to help. Still, I wanted to do what I could. It might be my last chance to see Heisuke. Please, let me go. I won't get in the way.
This isn't like anything you've done before. You understand that, right? We're killing someone who used to be one of us. Much as we don't want to, we might even have to kill Heisuke.
I know. It's not something to be taken lightly. I knew that the Shinsengumi had carried out these sorts of black operations before. There was no way I could have stayed with them as long as I had and not known, but I couldn't just let them shoulder all the responsibility. I was done looking away until the deed was done. No more. Perhaps it's presumptuous of me to say so, but I consider myself a member of the Shinsengumi. And because we're going through this, I want to help everybody.
Then you're determined to do this, I see.
His face had lost its usual warmth. It wasn't anger or cruelty that it showed now, but the gravity of a general addressing his men.
Tell me then, how do you intend to help?
I had already decided I would convince Heisuke. It's gotta do. It's what I gotta do. Kyoto was a city of many streets, some of them more quiet and isolated than others. Aberonakoji was one of these, and it was where Nagakura, Harada, and I hid with the rest of the men assigned to this task.
They'll be showing up any minute.
We'd set out Ito's corpse as bait to draw the guard into a trap. Okay, so that part of the mission's over. My teeth bit into my lips so hard I had to stop before I drew blood. If Ito had been allowed to live, he would have been a danger to the Shinsengumi. I understood that. But this... it just seems... Is this something that could be forgiven?
You don't have to watch. Just look the other way.
No. Whatever I might think of what we were about to do, this was my only chance to save Heisuke. I couldn't look away. We sat there for... I wasn't sure how long, until finally we heard the sound of the guard approaching. Here we go. Miki! Oh no, his brother!
Oh? Who's collapsed over there? Oh my god! Sir Ito! Who could have done such a thing?
6 or 7 of them rushed forward to examine Ito's corpse. Among them, of course... He hadn't noticed us yet, but the taciturn, downcast boy I saw in the street was nothing like the Heisuke I'd known. Harada and Nagakora picked him out at the same moment I did. Silently, they both closed their eyes for a moment in silent prayer.
Let's go. Yeah.
Shin, Sano, you're here too, Chizuru?
I see. So you used my brother's body as bait and were waiting for us to be next, huh? Such a shady trick, which is befitting for a group of peasants like you.
Nagakora! Harada! Was it you who killed my brother? Heisuke was drowned out by the cry of Miki, who in turn was interrupted by the sudden report of a gunshot.
What the? Is someone nearby?
Oh my goodness, is it, crazy demon with the gun? I can never remember his name. I haven't run into him enough times. If he was hesitating, then it hadn't been the Guardians who'd fired. Was it the Shinsengumi?
Alright, who's the idiot out there who fired that gun?
Idiot? That's not very nice.
Knew it! Kyo Shiranui. That guy with the gun.
Anyway, hello, human. I'm here to play with you.
Shiranui? Amagiri?
What are you guys doing here?
What do you think? We're working. Watching you idiots lure the bigger idiots from the guard into a trap.
He waved one of his arms casually in some sort of signal. Aw, Harada, you're protecting me? Thanks. I wasn't expecting another Harada CG, but here we are. Where did all these people come from?
I'm a little surprised to see you've got so many men. Looks like they're from Satsuma, right?
The Satsuma?
I heard Miki dubiously mumble from a distant location.
I apologize for ambushing you. But we have our orders, and they must be followed.
Orders from the Satsuma?
For you, I'll buy that. But I thought your friend was with the Choshu, Shiranui.
Don't tell me you've gone and switched sides, Shiranui.
Unfortunately for you, the Satsuma and Choshu are buddies right now. Shouldn't you, be more worried about yourself, though?
As Shiranui spoke, the men behind him began to inch forward. I reached for my sword, but Harada stopped me.
Keep your back to the wall and stay behind me. I'll kill anyone who gets close.
From the rest of the Shinsengumi, I heard the sounds of hands tightening on hilts and swords being loosened in their scabbards. I swallowed.
What the hell is going on? Someone explain. Wait. If you are from the Satsuma domain, do you mean to attack us as well?
Huh? Oh, right, you're with that guy. Ito, was it? Anyway, I hear we've got you to thank for Sakamoto.
Did he mean the assassination of Ryoma Sakamoto? Then, were the Satsuma and the guard allies?
Good job on that. Happy? Good. You can die now.
Miki, watch out!
Save Miki!
Ah! Hey! You alright? Hang in there!
Miki went to the body of one of his men, but the man seemed to be dead already. He glared at Shiranui, seething with contempt.
You bastard! How dare you betray a Satsuma dog!
Just following your lead, boss. Didn't you betray your old allies too? I seem to recall hearing something about how you spread rumors that Sakamoto was assassinated by Harada from the Shinsengumi.
I knew it. So it was you guys spreading such dumb rumors, huh?
We don't really need you anymore. But we do need to make sure you keep your trap shut. Now, it seems like the best way to keep you quiet is to make sure you're dead.
What?
Both Shinsengumi and guard were only moments from attacking when Amagiri's voice echoed across the street.
You are outnumbered. I cannot advise standing against us. And as such, I have a proposition for the Shinsengumi.
What?
Why don't you let us take care of the girl with you? If you do, I will allow all of you to leave unharmed.
Satsuma vassal, okay.
What? Listen here, Amagiri, you're not in charge of this operation. You can't trade members of the Shinsengumi for...
Amagiri stopped the Satsuma vassal just by glaring back at him with a furious gaze.
I think perhaps you misunderstand. I will follow the orders of the domain to the extent that I am able, but they are not paramount.
But...
Gunshot resounded again.
Oh!
The Satsuma vassal fell to the ground and he was no longer moving. Sheesh. Shiranui blew the smoke from his gun as it slowly rose from the barrel.
Anybody else? If you can live through the first bullet, we might listen to what you have to say.
How could he? To Shiranui, there were no enemies or allies. He was a beast that the Satsuma had only just learned they could not control.
Alright, now we won't have any more rude interruptions. What is your answer? Will you accept our offer or not?
Not even a breath disturbed the silence of Abaru no Koji. The demons, the Satsuma, the guard, and the Shinsengumi all waited to see how I would respond.
Well, you heard the man, Sano. What do you want to do? You really gotta ask? These guys are pretty pathetic. Even Heisuke's lame jokes are better than this.
Ah! Even at this moment, Heisuke's like, come on, guys.
Oh, I love it when guys get all tough like that.
Think you can beat all these men, though?
At a motion from Shiranui, the Satsuma rushed forward, a solid wave of men and sword that tumbled over the Shinsengumi and guard alike. Let me think about this. I could see Heisuke hesitate. Who was his enemy, he must be wondering.
Toto, help us! What the hell did you come here for?
Gah! It's nice to see Miki out with his blade. Very nice. Heisuke regripped his swords, but... Heisuke! I called his name in desperation and ran up to him. I'd come here for one reason, and though our attack had hardly gone as planned, that hadn't changed.
Chizuru!
What are you doing here, you idiot? You're going to get yourself killed!
He shoved me around behind him, his voice a mixture of surprise and anger. I'm sorry, but I had to tell you something. My run through the fighting had set my heart to pounding like an angry drum and my lungs burned. I took a deep breath. You have to come back to the Shinsengumi. Kondo, Hijikata, Inoue, Shimada, and Yamazaki. They're all waiting for your return. I miss you, Heisuke. I want you to come back, please.
I can't go back. Not now.
Swords clashed and men screamed around us, but I ignored them.
I did what I did because I thought Ito would be better for the country than... well, better. I thought by leaving I wouldn't have anything to do with that serum anymore. That I won't have to sacrifice my comrades anymore. What the hell am I supposed to do now?
I faltered in response to the intense sword battle, but I questioned him. Do you still believe that?
I don't know! There's no way for me to tell! But when he said that he would have Sakamoto killed, and then made it look like Sano did it, it felt wrong. No matter how you spun it around, but...
Heisuke looked pained. He had a self-derisive smile mixed that looked remorseful. It hurt me to see him so conflicted.
So, did I fail? No matter how harsh and difficult it was for me. I thought I was making the right decision by going down this path alone because it was for myself.
Heisuke.
Lately, I keep thinking about the time I spent with the Shinsengumi. The serum, the Furies. All that stuff seemed a million miles away from me. It's so weird. It seemed like I could only remember the stuff that made me happy.
I think about you a lot, too. I'm sure I'm not the only one, either.
That's so.
The clattering of swords filled the air like rain.
I want to go back. I'd like to go, I would. But if I go back to the Shinsengumi, I don't know what I'm supposed to fight for anymore.
What do you mean?
What are you doing, Toto? That kid's Shinsengumi! Kill him!
Excuse me, we're having a heart-to-heart? Another member of the guard leapt at us from the side, his sword diving toward me. Ah! Just then...
No!
Heisuke spun and drove the hilt of his sword into the man's stomach. The guard member lost consciousness and fell to the floor.
Oh.
Heisuke was in a state of shock, then let his eyes fall to the man doubled over on the ground. I think he found something else to fight for. He almost seemed to move subconsciously. It was as if he thought he was inhabiting another person's body, staring at his hands incredulously.
Toto, you bastard. Are you going to betray us now? Are you really going to turn your back on us to rejoin the Shinsengumi, who murdered my brother with entrapment? Are you serious?
Heisuke's shoulders jolted in response. As he spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper.
Sorry, Miki, but I'm a pretty sad excuse for a guardian. Ito is so smart. He has so many connections, and he always seems to be ahead of the times. I followed him because I thought what he said would be right, but...
Heisuke slashed at a Satsuma warrior one after another as he protected me.
But I've had enough of politics and ideals and all that crap! Loyalism. Nationalism. None of that matters anymore.
Loyalism is a term for the philosophical and political leanings of those who supported the shogunate. Back to the fight.
I don't care if I have to fight 100 men or 1,000 demons.
He turned to look at me over his shoulder, and the grin on his face lit up like the sun. Here was the Heisuke I knew. It was the face of the Heisuke I knew so well. The one that spits out petals from his chin.
No matter what, I'll be there for you, Chizuru. Any bastard that thinks he can come after you will have to get through me first, because you're what I'm fighting for.
This is amazing. This is the best route yet. Heisuke, I could just kiss him forever. My goodness. What a boy. And with that final triumphant yell, he brought his sword up to face his next foe. With that, the battle began. Countless Satsuma poured into the narrow street in an attempt to choke us with sheer numbers. Nagakora's sword flickered and leapt, utterly unconcerned with any odds.
All you've got is numbers. Anybody who wants to die, come at me.
Ah!
Blood spurts and screams came from everywhere.
Damn it! I'm not going to let you guys kill me!
The battle was so intense that I couldn't keep up with who was battling whom.
Ha! You should have just handed over that kid and begged for your life. Don't think I'm going to let you die quickly.
Huh. Careful, Shiranui. There's a lot of people here. If you shoot, you're more likely to hit one of your own men than me.
Damn it! I can't get a good shot! You're all useless, and more than that, you're in my way!
He kicked out furiously at a nearby Satsuma soldier who had the misfortune to stumble into Shiranui's line of fire. Chizuru, what a line to just say right now. Good summary, though, of like what's happening. Very good. This is just... wow. I knew Nagakora, Harada, and Heisuke were skilled swordsmen, but I'd never seen them fight the way they did that night. Several of the Shinsengumi soldiers made a wall around me, and I watched as the captains tossed foes aside like they were made of straw. Then, from across the battlefield, I heard Amagiri's basso rumble.
You mean to challenge me on your own? I suppose your courage is admirable.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we're a little short on men, so you're just gonna have to fight me.
Even in single combat, you were unable to defeat me. This situation is hardly more ideal. What do you intend to do?
Ha!
Eesh. Even swords weren't enough to stop Amagiri's fists, and Heisuke, with his small frame, was driven back.
Just!
The Satsuma pressed in, looking for an advantage.
Damn it!
No! He's surrounded! Heisuke's plight distracted me from my own, which was a mistake I regretted almost immediately. What have we done? Oh, hello. Ah! Before I realized what was happening, two Satsuma soldiers burst through the Shinsengumi line, charging straight toward me.
Gah! Watch out! Chizuru!
No one was close enough to intercept them, and I was nowhere near strong enough to fight off two men on my own. They were closer now. No time to dodge. I heard the wet slice of two blades cutting into human flesh. It doesn't hurt? When I looked up, the soldiers were dead. A sword pierced the chest of one, straight through the heart, and the other had taken a wakizashi through the throat. Too short to be a standalone sword, but too long to be considered a dagger, the wakizashi was also known as a companion sword. It was often paired with a longer blade. Ah! I spun toward Heisuke across the street.
Haha. Seems like I made it.
He was smiling. His arms still extended from throwing his swords, and he grinned like he was happy to see me saved. Heisuke, why did you do that? He'd never even stopped to consider if my life was worth his own. He never had to ask.
Your courage is impressive.
Amagiri's fists moved horribly, painfully slow.
But foolish.
Without his swords, Heisuke had no way to block, and his throw had left him no room to dodge. Oh no, Heisuke.
Ah!
No! My ragged scream echoed across the battlefield.
Heisuke! Heisuke! Damn it! Out of my way!
How can they be so strong? Retreat! Retreat! Go! Go! They're running? First they get in my way, and then they just give up? Bah! I guess there's no helping it.
Harada's blade became a snarling, monstrous whirlwind of death, and before it the Satsuma and their demon allies were pushed back until they finally withdrew. Miki's still alive.
Damn it. Let's retreat for now. I will never forget tonight. I will personally send all of you Shinsengumi men straight to hell!
Miki and the remaining Guardian soldiers all scrambled to their feet and ran. But all of that seemed so far away from me. My boy. My sweet boy. The street of Aberona Koji was painted with red. Everything before my eyes seemed to melt into together, coalescing into deep pools of blood. My hands were smeared with red. The words Heisuke coughed out were... red.
Ha. Looks like I screwed up.
Don't talk, damn it! Shit, this is bad. His internal organs could be affected.
Harada! His injury! Let me see it! I ran over to Heisuke to check up on him. I was praying to myself that it'd be fine. Even if it looked bad, it couldn't be serious, right? It's not as if a strike like that was going to be fatal to someone like Heisuke. I repeated these things over and over in my mind. I mean...
Damn it, Heisuke! You can't die here!
Was he really going to die? No! You can't die, Heisuke! I just couldn't get myself to believe this. But when I saw it unfold in front of me, I realized I couldn't deny what was happening. I was shivering, but I reached out to wipe the blood desperately from his cheek. His eyes were rolling back into his head, but he looked up at me, shaken and cold.
Sorry, I've wanted to be there for you a little longer. Screwed that up pretty good, didn't I?
No, Heisuke. I wasn't ever so important that you should have given your life to protect me. Please, save your strength.
I'm fine. Don't worry about me.
Let's carry him to the compounds. We can't do anything for him here. Can you run, Chizuru?
Yes, of course! We ran through the night, Nagakura and Harada bearing Heisuke's bloody and beaten body back to the Shinsengumi. Every minute felt like an hour, and with every second my heart felt that much closer to tearing in half. The assassination of Ito and the destruction of the Guardians of the Imperial Tomb was later known as the Aberona Koji Incident. Both the Shinsengumi and Guard were surprised by the sudden appearance of Satsuma troops, and by the demons who accompanied them. Both parties had fallen for the Satsuma trap, and the battlefield was thrown into confusion. During the fight, Heisuke was mortally wounded and had no choice but to drink the water of life and become a fury or die. As the Battle of Aberona Koji was taking place, the headquarters of the Shinsengumi came under attack from Chikage Kazuma. The monstrous thing my father had made was slowly devouring the Shinsengumi. How long before the water of life swallowed them whole? My poor boy. Oh, he saved her.